Welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Everett and Julie have a startling run-in at the Horton House, and Clyde makes an insolvable demand of Ava in Paulina's sanitarium room. Lonnie reads from a document that formerly Paulina is on the organ transplant list. She may admit an organ that day, or she may have to stay. Paulina sighs, whatever happens, happens. When Marlena enters, Paulina asks to talk to her alone. Abe and Lonnie leave, allowing Paulina to confess how spooked she's to leave the life she loves. She asks Marlena to help her feel more hopeful and to stop Presto encouraging to darkness. In his sanitarium room, Harris realizes Goldman is the operative. She dashes out when the nanny enters. Encountering Ava in the square, Rafe assures her they're doing everything they can to track down Trip and Wendy. Knowing her history, he warns her not to cross any lines. She defensively switches out, but snappily apologizes. As Rafe gets a call, Goldman races past them. Rafe comes to Harris' sanitarium room and learns Goldman allowed an attempt on his life. Harris says he fought off the disguised hitman, who ran off. When she came by, Goldman appeared surprised he was alive. Rafe calls into question Xander being the bone. Who shot him? Perhaps the hitman came back to finish the job. Harris says it's possible. Further homage to Roscoe born at night in the burned Horton living room, a conservative Julie holds up a fire poker. Further Sloan temporarily remake using a flashlight in the darkened Horton house, Julie sees someone approaching with their own flashlight from outdoors. She swings a fire poker when they come through the double doors. A startled Everett riots. Once they calm down, Everett explains he was driving by and saw her flashlight. He allowed. Someone broke in. She explains she's looking for an indication or secret key to open her grandparents' time capsule. Everett offers to help her look. As Everett finds a lantern, Julie notes he looks like her kinsman Nick, who was a fine youthful man until he lost his way. Everett would love to hear further about her family history, but she's more interested in ultramodern times. She asks if there's a future for him and Stephanie. He fills her in about Bobby. It doesn't make sense for him to lose that much of his life. Unless you lying, Julie deadpants. Further times running out for Paulina, Wendy and Trip wearing a hoodie in the domain. Goldman trashes her police shirt. She calls Clyde to report Harris is still alive and that he knows she's dirty. Clyde says they've to move up the timeline also. She knows what she has to do. Goldman wonders about Trip and Wendy since they've seen her face. He drawls, that's her problem, and suggests she break it. At the sanitarium, Marlena gazes compassionately at Paulina who lies in bed. At the sanitarium, Marlena says she knows that as Paulina grows stronger, she'll see herself as the healthy, vibrant woman she's always been. Paulina is assured by her words. Marlena urges her not to feel guilt over entering someone additional's heart. The benefactors do it because it allows a part of them to continue on after they've gone. Paulina thanks Marlena for always being so good to her. It's Marlena's honor to be there for her. Feeling at peace, Paulina knows what she needs to do next. Further Brandon Barish's musical morning walk with Sun in the sanitarium lobby, Lonnie consoles a distraught Abe. She sensations over his and Paulina's love for each other. It reminds her that indeed through the darkest times, they can find a way to push to the light. Abe and Lonnie grasp in the sanitarium. From Harris' room, Rafe puts out a bolo on Goldman and also smothers over not seeing her deception. He wonders why she'd work for Clyde and who differently is on his payroll. Harris says they need to bring her in and break her down. Rafe declares they'll use her to bring Clyde down formally and for all. Further, the end of Stefan? At the Horton house, Everett insists to Julie he isn't lying. Julie believes him and relays the story about her mama's twin, Tommy, who was presumed dead after the Korean War. Still, he'd amnesia and got reconstructive plastic surgery after suffering facial defect. Upon concurrently coming home with his family, Alice noticed his speckle, which led to an disquisition uncovering the verity. Julie hopes Everett's story doesn't end with him learning he's affiliated to Stephanie and her running off to a monastery. Fritters crossed, Everett chuckles. He laments just getting Stephanie back, only to lose her again perhaps ever. Julie urges him to find out about this history, or he'll no way be free. After Julie leaves, Everett leans against the double doors, gaping off with an enigmatic boo. Further for Paulina to live, will someone die? In the burned Horton house, Everett gapes off with a tone-satisfied boo. Marlena leaves Paulina's room when Lonnie and Abe return. Paulina asks Lonnie to help her draft her last will and testament. Lonnie takes notes as Paulina dictates. In Harris' room, Rafe worries about putting a new guard on Harris' door since he doesn't know who he can trust. Harris assures him he can take care of himself, but asks for a favor. Bring me my gun? After Ava comes home, she answers a phone she discovers in the office hole. It's Clyde who demands she break him out of person. However, that bambino of yours is going to be pushing up daisies if he's not out in 24 hours. After the gashes, the death of Days of Our Lives Paulina could change the veritably face of Salem itself. All products and services featured are singly chosen by editors. Still, soaps.com may admit a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may admit certain auditable data for counting purposes. There's no two ways about it. Paulina's fading presto on Days of Our Lives. She'll need a heart sooner rather than latterly, which is end-looking probably right now. Luckily, she's got a friend in Marlena, one of Salem's kindest lights and a trained psychiatrist who knows how to deal with grief and loss. So naturally, on the Monday, March 4th occasion, Marlena stops by to talk about heritage and mortality with Paulina and help her deal with the current health extremity. Latterly, Paulina decides it's time to put together her will. The real estate Napoleon is end without substantial means, so she's got a lot of plutocrat to leave to folks. As to where it's going, Jackie Harry spoke with Soap Opera Digest a bit about her character's wishes. Eventually it's the grandbabies, the haves, she explained, that's who's going to get the plutocrat. She wants them to be taken care of because they read the future. And she wants to leave a heritage to the city of Salem. So I am sure she donates some plutocrat to charitable institutions there as well. That's how I see it. Would Paulina's death change effects up in Salem as the city suddenly has some redundant plutocrat to improve effects up? Just a many months agone. We'd have said no way, but also the Horton House burned down and we've been promised a revamped home and set. As Susan Seaforth Hayes explained, the decision to burn down the Horton House and rebuild it was much a practical decision to revamp the set to be easier and quicker to put up and take down. However, Paulina's death would be the perfect occasion for further public sets, from the Domain to the Square, without taking down Tom and Alice's heritage, if Days of Our Lives wants to keep doing that. No bone. Wants to see the city into an inventor's agony, but plutocrat left to recognize Salem's heritage and improve effects up would be the perfect occasion to change effects around. And with the new establishing shots of everything from the sanitarium to what seems like a bustling town Salem, this would give the show a reason to keep expanding the compass of Salem without having to set everything on fire. Heck, perhaps Sweet Bits could indeed get an outside so Chanel doesn't have to peddle her baked treats outside in the middle of the downtime. Days of Our Lives is going to be ramping up to its 60th anniversary soon, and they could celebrate it by unveiling some inconceivable new aesthetics that recognize the show's heritage, and also, we suppose, save some time and plutocrat by making the sets easier to assemble. Perhaps that could indeed be a way to bring aged, retired sets that just weren't practical to use presently back. The ironic part is that when Paulina first showed up, she wanted to remake the face of Salem by buying up property in the forecourt. That was stopped before Salem came unrecognizable, but leaving plutocrat to recognize the city's heritage rather than bulldoze it and remake it, could be an inconceivable occasion to give Days of Our Lives a little facelift.